मय्यानतिमिरन्दस्य यनञ्जना शलाकाय चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Well, Dandavat Pranams, welcome to all the assembled Vaishnavas, August Assembly. So we have a very nice topic for this week. As I mentioned, this is something shared by Kirtida Devi Dasi. This is so nice to hear. You know, she shared something very special. I have something I've contemplated for years. When I was in England, London Temple, East, second floor, Srila Govinda Maharaj passed me and said, "A Paramahaṁsa is home wherever he is." That's such a wonderful story. Would you mind sharing more about that moment, Kirtida? Like, how did that happen?
Dandavati, no, I can't remember anything else.
Hmm.
It's blocked, but special that moment. I can see him in front of me, passing me. And I remember he looked down and smiled, um, a little smile, and passed me and said that.
So he was speaking to you personally when he said that.
Yes, yes. And
Wow.
I think, first time in London, and I was not I was very ignorant and still am, but I was taken totally by him. I can't remember more. I remember more from the actual temple visit, but exactly that moment I can't
Mhm.
tell more.
Was that the first time you met Gurudev in person also?
Yes, no, the first time a gentleman from Germany, I think.
Okay.
Uh,
When he
I
came to
sat,
Germany. Hmm.
yes, he came from Germany, sat in the stairs, and he asked me if I had met Srila Govinda Maharaj before. No, I said, and I sat in the stairs this sort of early morning. And he said, okay, I will take you up and visit. Um, and he opened the door, and I was completely, my mind shut down. He asked me how I was, and I couldn't answer because I was empty in my mind. So I paid Dandavat and then just left. He ate breakfast there
Mm.
together with Bhakti Lalita Devi Das with his others. That was
Uh-huh.
the first time, yes.
Mm. Mm. Wow,
And
so beautiful to hear. Mhm.
yes, I remember very minute detail from my visit. And
Mm.
it's thanks to Premavatar who took me to London and showed me the way through the subway and everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I have never been in London before, I think.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he was so kind to take me there.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have lots of memories, I think.
Mhm.
And I was so happy sitting in the temple for the first time and reading Bhagavad Gita with some pujari there. And at last, I think I'm sitting here and reading Gita, and suddenly Kirtan party came in, and you can tell I was so ignorant. I those disturbed me, you see. So you can see. I look back and by shaking my hand. Dianidi, I think, came in with the group chanting Mahamantra. I remember.
Mm.
And oof, many memories.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're still living in me.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes. I wish I could speak English better, but I can't explain fine words.
Hmm. Actually,
Uh,
it's very beautiful. You know, when devotees speak about their experiences with Srila Govinda Maharaj, it's not just hearing their words, but seeing like their whole mood, you know, and like you feel their, you know, how deeply their heart was touched, you know. So that's yeah, that
and the last time I saw him, I just sat and stared at him. And I thought for myself, this was the last time I will see him. And
mm,
I just stared and I forgot myself totally.
mm,
So there were other there to say goodbye to, but I forgot everything and just stared. I
mm,
remember. And that was my last time.
mm, mm. What
But
year was that?
I can't remember. It's 23 years or so, I think. I can't remember. 20, maybe.
Mm, mm.
But it makes very impression on me.
Yes.
Yes. I
Mm,
think I was in London 3 or 4 times, thanks to Premavatar.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Hmm.
mm.
So,
Well, I like so much what you've shared for our topic today. So welcome. We had a few come in. I see Nazar is with us, and I think that's Chaitanya Daya who also just came in. That's so exciting. Haven't seen you for a while. And Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu has also just tuned in. Very happy to have you with us, Prabhu. So for those who came in a little late, Kirtida shared this special exchange he had with Srila Govinda Maharaj at one time in England. He was passing by her in the hallway, and he paused and he said, "A Paramahaṁsa is home wherever he is." You know. And actually, it is interesting. I've heard a few cases like that. Srila Govinda Maharaj will kind of like oh, great, Chaitanya Dai. So nice to know you're with us. And also, Suvasini Ji has just joined us. That's very exciting too. Um, yeah, I've heard of a few cases, you know, where Srila Govinda Maharaj, he'll pass by someone and just kind of like throw like this bomb at them, you know, like like David Shish Prabhu, he shared of this occasion. This was also same hallway in Green Street. Very appropriate because I'm going to be spending a few nights there. I'm traveling to London tomorrow. I'm going to be spending. Wow, it's so cool actually to think about all this just before going there. But David Shishpur, some of you will have heard already, but he shared of how this one time Gurudev was on that same hallway that Kirtida is talking about. And he came out his room. He's at the top of the stairs, and he's just about to. You remember that story, Kirtida, right? You heard from him, and he
no,
and
I remember the whole way. I remember the whole way.
right, right, right,
Yes.
right. And Gurudev's like Srila Govinda Maharaj is just about to go down the stairs, and then at the top of the stairs, he suddenly turns around and looks at Devashish, and he said, "Anyone who can stay in the line of Guru Maharaj will get the service of." Can anyone remember? Maybe Suvasini. Did he say Rupa Manjari? Do you remember that story, Suvasini Didi?
No, I remember but no, I don't remember the exact words. No,
Hmm.
actually.
But it was along the. I think he mentioned Lalita Devi, Rupa Manjari under Lalita, something like that. You know, whoever can stay in the line of Guru Maharaj, you know, they will get the service of Rupa Manjari under Lalita Devi, something like that, along those lines. And I'd heard Devashish mention that a few times. But it was only very recently he told me like the full story, like how I thought like Gurudev said it in a talk or like a public talk or something, but it was like that. Gurudev's just in the hallway about to go down the stairs, and he just suddenly like threw that at him, you know. And Devashish must have been like completely shocked in that moment. And so now we have another gem from Kirtida that Gurudev said in that same hallway. Paramahamsa is home wherever he is. Like, I mean, that is just so cool. It's like Srila Govinda Maharaj is giving you something to meditate on for your whole life. Like what better gift than that, you know? What better gift than that?
Yeah, it's a
So,
state of consciousness.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my reflections on that is that I mean, actually, I feel it was so perfect when you sent me that message. It was actually very perfect for me too. It was like, oh, that's exactly what I need to hear right now. You know, because I'm always like in between so many places. You know, now I'm in Portugal, tomorrow I'm traveling to London, and a few days later traveling to Japan. Then a few weeks later going in, and sometimes, you know, my head starts to spin and I get tired of it all. And actually, when I received that message from you, I thought, wow, I felt like, you know, sometimes I also feel like some of these statements that Gurudev shares with certain devotees, he's saying it for them also, like it's not only for them, but it's for the world, you know? It's like it's like Gurudev's way of passing that gem, right, on to others. Like I'm telling this to Kirtida and she will tell that to others also, and they will get reassurance from that, you know? Like, of course, there's the personal aspect, but then it's also for the collective as well, you know. So it really was very, very meaningful to me when I received it. And it's also interesting because, you know, I've known you so many years and, you know, and we've had these Zoom meetings so long now, and you've never shared that. This is like the first time you're sharing it. So it makes it more like precious. Like, wow, you've been keeping that up your sleeve all this time. What else do you have in there? So for anyone who is not familiar, so Paramahamsa, right? This is a term used sometimes to, or often used to refer to the great Vaishnava saints, right? Welcome Axel, or Ananta Shesh, sorry, who's also joined us. So Paramahamsa is used, and it's also used as a title, you know, and when we say the full title of our gurus and our guru parampara, we include that as their title, right? Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Varya Ashtotar Satashi Shilabhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, right? This is used, and every word in these titles, it has some significance, right? So Paramahamsa, right, literally means great swan, right? And we're told that swans, I've never personally witnessed it, perhaps some of you have, but we're told that swans have this special ability to extract water, sorry, to extract milk from water. Apparently if you give them a pot of milk and water mixed together, they have some special ability to just extract the milk and leave the water behind. And so similarly, the Paramahamsa Vaishnavas, right? They have this ability to connect everything with divinity, right? Connect everything with the center, connect everything to Krishna, or to extract the the essence, the spiritual essence of everything, right? They're always making that divine connection. Dandavat Rasananda, welcome. All the way from Moscow. Um, and so they're always finding the Lord's connection everywhere. They're always they're engaging everything in the service of the Lord. They're extracting the good from everywhere, right? That's also another way of seeing it. They're extracting the beauty and the brightness and the seeing the spiritual aspect of everything that they come across, right? So, so then, what Gurudev said, it's such a wonderful reflection, right? Because the Paramahamsa, they're not exactly living within like an insect, just living within their objective circumstances, right? Like like an insect, this fly running around here in the room now, it cannot grasp, or it's highly unlikely that it can grasp what we're discussing right now. Give it a little benefit of the doubt. You never know who it is. But generally speaking, an insect in the room right now cannot comprehend, right, what we are discussing. The insect is living, is within these four walls and has a very external level of perception, right, of the environment, right? Living like we are often just living in body consciousness, right? That I am this body. My body has these needs and desires, my mind, and so on. Just, disconnected from the soul plane, disconnected from our true need, our true identity, what our real journey is within the sum total of reality within eternity, right? Generally, we're living in this very tiny little, very limited, range of perception and comprehension, right? So so wherever we are, we're really feeling that the reality of those circumstances, right? That, oh, I'm in this country, I'm experiencing this, or I'm in this type of weather, I'm hot, I'm cold, right? Or whatever it is, we're really feeling the pressing, immediate reality that's around us, right? Because we're living in the world of our senses, right? And so that also, that binds us in this world of duality of like and dislike, right? I like this, I don't like that. And we can get trapped, right, in these loops of trying to seek after that perfect environment that pleases our senses, in just the right way, right? Especially like it's mad, like if you think about it, how I mean, probably not many of us here live like that, but like what modern convenience affords us, right? Like you can perfectly control the temperature of your room, right? Like, they have the thermostat, right? Get just the right degree, right? And then the lights, right? They have like these dimming lights. You can adjust the light like to just the right degree of light that you want, right? Like there's so many things, so many things in this age of technology and age of convenience. Like it's a free for all for the senses, right? So anyhow, we get accustomed to this, right? That we want to customize our environment to just the way we want it to be, not more, not less. But then what does that mean? That if that environment is disrupted, we're disturbed, right? If we don't have, exactly the right temperature, exactly the right scenery, exactly the right music, exactly the right texture of our pillow and and so on and so forth, we'll get thrown off, right? We're thrown off, right? We can't have our morning cup of coffee, or whatever it is, right? We're thrown off, We can't watch our Netflix, and we don't have like exactly that custom-made environment around us. We get thrown off. And so what Gurudev is saying here is so beautiful, that the Paramahamsa, they're not actually living within their objective circumstances, because they're connecting with the center, right? They're connecting with that higher reality. They're not living in this immediate material reality. They're always living in a world of consciousness, right? So that's what this word transcendental means, right? They've transcended the mundane environment. They're living beyond their immediate circumstances. And so because they're always, what's that expression, like the home station or something? It's used in the mothership. Thank you. Nanda Krishna, who got it. I was looking for that word. Good, good, good. The mothership. I like that. They're always connecting with the mothership, right? They're not just living, with, like Srila Sridhar, she gives this wonderful analogy too. I love it so much. It's in Loving Search for the Lost Servant. Um, how this is just perfect. I love it so much. The rays of the sun, right? The rays of the sun, they touch the earth, right? But their source is the sun. So in the same way, we are actually creatures of spirit, right? We are spirit. We come from the world of spirit. And our issue, our problem is that, we're connecting with this material plane and we're identifying with it. But we should identify with the mothership, right? Our real source is that plane of spirit. And so just like that sun touches the earth, the sun's actually gracing the earth, right? But it's not a part of the earth. Its real connection is with the sun, the light sun. And so in the same way, although we're living, connecting with this mundane environment, we have to keep that consciousness. Oh, my real source is above, right? Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj also says, this is all in Loving Search for the Lost Servant. He says, we are hanging from the upper world. We are hanging from the upper world. That we should not conceive we are standing on the firm ground of this world, that we are a part of all these relative circumstances that surround us. But our real identity, our real connection, our real homeland is above, right? It is another plane. It is somewhere else. I had this one experience once. I often remember this. It was I once when I went to Ukraine, to Kiev, and I flew from I think London, and there were these two young girls on the plane, and you don't see it so often, but sometimes you do see children traveling unaccompanied, right? And it's always a little sad, right? If you see like a 10-year-old kid traveling without their parents, it's a little sad. And so I was, I mean, no doubt their parents had told them don't talk to strangers, because I I was trying to look out for them, but they weren't so responsive, which is good, in the big picture of things. Um, but I was a little concerned. They were maybe like 10, 11, and I was a little concerned someone might take advantage of them. So I was keeping an eye on them and feeling a little sad. Oh, they're so young and their parents couldn't travel with them. That's not nice. And so I was keeping an eye on them. And then we land in Kiev and, go through immigration and and we were, nearby each other the whole time. And then come out on the other side, right, to the reception area in the airport. And they had this whole crowd of relatives, you know, like aunties and uncles and grandparents and, like maybe parents too, I don't know. But it was like, it was a good group, at least 5 or 6 or 7, something like that. It was like a good sized group of relatives, maybe more who were there. And they received them with so much affection and love and hugging them and it was and it was so it made such an impression on me because the whole time I'd been worried about them so much but it was like they knew what they were going to, right? They weren't worried. And I'm sure they got put on the plane, by their family. And then on the other side, they had this whole loving group ready to receive them, right? And apparently in the interim, it looked like they were alone, but they actually had this loving family waiting for them. And that's where they were connected, right? They're feeling safe because they know they have that connection. And it made a very deep impression on me and it really touched me because it made me think how, sometimes in our spiritual practice, we may feel that we are a little alone, right? Or we look around and we say, oh, how many people are actually interested, in spiritual life? And I'm alone on this journey, right? We may feel like that at times, but actually, we are the majority. Actually, we have such a huge, loving, devotional family, here and beyond. And actually, we're told this this whole material sphere. There's a phrase that's used in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maybe Suvasanidhi can remember, but it's and this is only giving some idea, but it's referred to sometimes as like 1/4 of the whole. Actually it's much less. Do you remember that expression, Suvasanidhi? I can't remember the Bengali.
I'm sorry. No, I don't remember too.
Okay. But yeah, it refers to this whole material sphere as, 1/4 of the sum total, something like that. Of course it is actually less than that, but it's giving some representation, right, in numbers, because we need these types of, references to help us conceive of something. There's also this place where Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he says, in the beginning, we will feel that this world is everything, right? This world is all in all. And that, yeah, very few great saints in so many bygone ages, they went to that spiritual plane, that's very remote and very far away. Very few people have gone there. It's a very distant, remote place, right? And this world is everything. But then, so Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying, but as our faith develops, right, as our faith grows, then we will begin to feel just the opposite, right? That's the real world. That's where everyone is. That's where the party's really going on. And that this world is like, very tiny and irrelevant, compared to that, you know. That is, as our faith grows, that will be the transition that takes place within us, that we feel our real connection is there, and that's really where the real world is, right? And this world is like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, right? When once Goswami Maharaj was returning from Navadvip to USA, and he told Srila Sridhar Maharaj he was going to California. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and so he was like saying goodbye. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said to him, "Oh, you are going to a remote corner of the Western world." And Goswami Maharaj was like shocked. He's like, "Why? I'm going to California, like that's home, And then he thought about it, and he realized, like, oh no, actually, this is the center. This is Mahaprabhu appeared here. Mahaprabhu was born here. This is the center, and everything else is very far from that. That's actually the real view, the real consideration of things. And so, that type of shift will take place. I remember when the first, because I was living in India so many years, and I remember the first time I went back to the West, and it had been quite some years, and we just go to Nepal, for a few days to renew our visas and go back to India. And so I remember London was the first place I went to, and I remember when I was looking around, well, one of the first things that struck me was how clean everything was. But it actually kind of like irked me. It's like it looks so sterile, and where are the mosquitoes? Like I miss those mosquitoes buzzing around. But another thing that it that that stood out. I remember like looking around and like being surprised, like, just like automatically in my mind, like, oh, they're not wearing neck beads. Like I was just so used to like being in Navadvip and being in the temple and everyone's wearing tilak and neck beads. That became like my normal reality. And so I remember like walking on the streets in the airport, like, oh, where are their neck beads? Where are their teeth? It was just like an automatic thing in my brain. Very, very funny, Anyway. But Srila Sridhar, she also gives that analogy that, like in every country, there's a prison, right? And the prison will represent what, 1% of the population, it's very little. And outside of the prison is the real world, the normal world, right? And so similarly, this world is something like that, it's a or rehabilitation center. We can think of it like that. It's a rehabilitation center, but that world, the spiritual world, that is the normal world, right? That is the normal world. And so anyhow, the Paramahamsa, going back to Srila Gurudev's comment, the Paramahamsa, they're always tuned in to that mothership, right? And that world is a world that's based on consciousness, right? It's not based on the limited experience of our senses, right? But it is a very broad and spacious world of consciousness. And so everything is harmonized for them, right? Everything is harmonized for them. They're finding the divine connection everywhere. And so, as Srila Gurudeva said, they will feel at home, right? They're at home everywhere. Another interesting thing that they're feeling the Lord's presence. If we think of it like that, everything's actually the Lord's property. Although not everyone is aware of that, that is the case, right? Everything is the Lord's property. And so if we are feeling connected to our Lord, we will feel at home. Everything is His, everything belongs to Him. So we will feel connected everywhere. We're not just living within the limited four walls around us, right? But we're connecting with the real source of everything, and that's harmonizing everything, adjusting everything. Another thing that comes to mind is it's mentioned, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he mentions this in a couple of his purports about, and this is coming from some place in the Vedas or some scriptural text, but I would like to find it actually. It's so nice, but it's mentioned someplace about how Maya, the energy of Maya, of illusion, it has these two principal actions. To delude, to confuse, right? We're confused about what is our real identity, right? And what is our true need and so on. But another aspect of Maya is to divide, right? Very interesting. To create division, right? To create division, disharmony, right? To create disharmony. This is one of the actions of Maya. As I recall, I would like to find that exact text. And so, when we're under the influence, another way Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes this, Mahamaya and Yoga Maya, right? And so Mahamaya is representing the external and out carrying. That's one way Srila Sridhar Maharaj has described it. Mahamaya represents this out carrying current, taking us away from the center, right? Whereas Yoga Maya is the incoming current. Yoga Maya is the Lord's spiritual energy, spiritual potency. And when we're connecting with that flow, that's the current that's taking us into the center, the actual flow of reality. And so that is harmonious, right? You could also think of it as like like an orchestra, right? That if you're connected with the actual music, you're in tune with the conductor and with the other musicians, then there's harmony and it's beautiful, right? But if you can't, connect with the real rhythm that's playing, you're going to be striking these discordant notes and just, ruining the music, right? And so if we can connect with that central flow of reality, then we will experience harmony, right? Because there's already an orchestra playing, right? That's Krishna's play. That's Krishna's music, right? It's already playing, right? We're late to the party. It's already going. It's not that we have to go and make our own music, right? It's already playing. So our duty is to find, how do I fit into that, right? How do I fit into that? And of course, now we're in a condition where we've taken ourselves away, right? So now it's like we got to chip through all these layers of rust that are keeping us away from that flow, that beautiful musical flow. And so, then if we're also, then we can also connect with that vision, right? Tattenu kampam susamikshāmano, right? This verse in Bhagavatam, which Srila Maharaj describes as giving the highest regulation given in any scripture, right? This prayer, that Lord Brahma, isn't it? Lord Brahma's prayer, that, whatever difficulty I'm facing, I recognize it is a result of my own karma. And it is also the Lord's grace, his anukampa, his grace upon me to correct me, to purify me, right? So again, harmony, right? Harmony. Once we can connect with the real origin of things and see the actual cause behind things and harmony, right? Then we don't need to fight against the environment, but no chaos, all cosmos. Actually, this word cosmos is an interesting word. Normally, when I hear the word cosmos, I think of like space and the universes and all this stuff. But it actually means this harmony, like order and everything. Srila Maharaj's command of the English language is extraordinary. So many words I've looked at. I'm going to look it up again. The meaning of cosmos, because I remember I heard that expression um, of Srila Maharaj, and I was a little puzzled by it. Okay, this definition is yeah, the most common use of the word is the universe, but let's find a deeper definition. Yeah, one of our I think it was Tridandi Maharaj, he had an email address, chaos to cosmos at like hotmail.com or something like that. So it always I always remembered it because of that. So this is one definition, the universe seen as a well-ordered whole, right? Yeah, an orderly or harmonious universe. So anyhow, it has this aspect as well, right? Referring to this harmony and order and everything, right? So no chaos, all cosmos. This was Srila Maharaj's expression. When we're seeing things, it looks like the original Greek was the word was meaning ornament, ornamental. So something beautiful, something harmonious and beautiful. So yes, when we have spiritual vision, right, and we have some concept of the true reason and purpose behind everything, then we're adjusting. Then everything is harmonious. We will feel at home, right? And there's one beautiful talk of Srila Maharaj where he's saying, don't live in a in a shelter. He says like, come and live under the sky. Your shelter is the sky, not your small construction. But take shelter of the sky. That meaning that we try to create some artificial construction around our lives, right? To protect ourselves, right? Or to make ourselves comfortable or happy. And we're, hiding from various things, right? But just why make this small little construction around you as your shelter? Take shelter of the sky. Like face everything, embrace, see that everything is coming to you is actually your friend because there's someone behind that. Our Lord is there. He is behind that. He is your friend. Always forget that. The peace formula, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada referred to it. 529. I always remember the number, but not the verse. 529. Of course, Suvasini, that Bhoktanam Yagyatapasam Sarva Maheshram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. Suhridam means he is friendly to all. He loves us all. Not only, Sarva Maheshwaram. Sorry, did somebody say something? Okay. Not only is he behind everything and, not chaos, but cosmos, there's order, there's purpose. He is in charge. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He means he's the master of everything, right? So not only can we have some reassurance, no, there's purpose behind it all. There's someone sanctioning this, someone who's in control. As he says in one place, we are not victims of a chaotic environment, right? Of course, that can be a bitter pill to swallow, right? But it is medicine. It is a pill. It will cure us. So not only that, but Suhridam, he has affection for us, right? He's not just meting out punishment like in a mood of judgment, but he is affectionate, he is friendly to all of us also. He is our friend. So whatever is coming, it is not only that it is coming with purpose, but it is also coming with affection behind it. And so when we can connect with this consciousness, then we will feel in harmony with the environment. We will feel at home. We will feel at peace. This verse, Srila Prabhupada, we hear, he called this the peace formula because Krishna says here, Bhoktaram, he's mentioning these 3 points, right? That one who accepts, who knows that I am the enjoyer, Bhoktaram, that is referring to enjoy. I'm the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Sarva Loka Maheshram, I am the master of all. And thirdly, Suhridam Sarva Bhut, I am friendly to all. Yatva Mam Shantim Richati. Such a person will know peace. Right? Such a person will know peace. Or you could also say, will feel at home everywhere. Going back to Gurudev's comment. So it's a very, very, very nice thing. I'm so happy you shared that, Kirtida. It's a very wonderful reflection for us all. It's one thing, when you read things in the books, but when you hear how something has come through the heart of a Vaishnava, right, and conveyed with affection and in specific intention, it hits home, so much more, So to hear about this personal exchange that Kirtida had, that Srila Govinda Maharaj told her this, Paramahaṁsa is at home wherever they are, that really just strikes the heart more. So we are very fortunate that we could meet a real Vaishnava in the person of Srila Govinda Maharaj. Their words are potent, right? Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentions that he's speaking of this verse of spoken by Kapila Dev, right? I can't remember. Some of you will know that verse. Famous verse speaking about sadhu sang. Satam prasangam, that's it. Satam prasangam. Kapila Dev, the Lord, is speaking to his mother, Devahuti. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido rasayana kata. Tajjoshana, a very beautiful verse. It's speaking about the power of hearing about the Lord from his devotees, right? And he mentions in this expression how that word that topics about me that are coming from the lips of my devotees, they are rich, in devotional spirit, right? They're in devotional energy. They're not just dry, lip deep words, but they have power, right? They can touch us. They can strike us, right? They can purify us. Like Srila Govinda Maharaj, he used to talk about Srila Sridhar Maharaj's throwing power. that he said that when Srila Sridhar Maharaj would speak things, it wasn't just like a brain transaction, but he's speaking with power, with potency, with spiritual potency, and it would make an impression, right, on your heart. And so Gurudev said, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj would, give instruction, he had this throwing power, and Gurudev was able to receive in his heart and to learn so many things, to memorize so many things, and to deeply hold that in his heart because of the potency Srila Sridhar Maharaj had in conveying that, right? It's not just that he's speaking words, but he's living what he's speaking. And so there's some force, there's some power. Like Srila Prabhupada, right? He had that expression, purity is the force, right? He mentioned a few things, right? And that was one of the purity is the force. And one line in particular, I remember Gurudev mentioned was this verse in Bhagavatam, this famous verse, uh, Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante jasya karmani mayi drishte kilatmani. And it's a series of verses, and some of you know these, no doubt. They're in Bhagavatam. They're speaking about the process of purification. Gurudev spoke about them a lot, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj spoke about them a lot also. It would be, got here, Prabhupada Jivanam. I should trying to remember the first. It's like a series of 4 or 5 verses, but that's the last of them. So the verses are describing how the struggling practitioner will gradually become free of their anartas. And finally, in the last stage, Vidyate hridaya grantis, that line means the knot on the heart will be pierced, right? That, we have all these knots of misconception, material attachment, and so on. The real flow of the heart is to go towards Krishna, right? But we have these knots on our twisted heart. They're obstructing that natural flow. And so in this last stage in these verses is describing how these knots are being pierced, right? And then finally, and then the karmic in bondage is cut, and Mayi Drishtik, and Krishna is speaking himself, and they will see that I am everywhere. They will feel my connection everywhere. So Gurudev said when Srila Sridhar Maharaj would chant that verse, then he said he felt like the knots on his heart were being pierced, right? That Srila Sridhar Maharaj's words were so powerful, they're going straight to his heart, and they're loosening the knots in his heart, because of that power that he had, that throwing power he had. Let me see, let me find. Here we are. Jatto Shraddha Matkata. So if you have Prabhupada Vinamrita in towards the end, the 9th chapter, these verses are there from Bhagavatam. Chapter 9, verses 43 to 46, 4 verses. Jatto Shraddha Matkatasu Nirvina Sarva Karmasu Veda Dukatmakam Kamam Parityage Pyanishva. These are very encouraging verses. For one who has developed some, Krishna speaking himself, right? For one who has developed some faith, some Shraddha Matkatasu, and talks about me. Nirvina Sarva Karmasu. And they've actually become, that word nirvana is translated in different ways, but they're no longer interested in Sarva karma, so mundane activity, right? They've lost interest. And Veda Dukatmakam Kaman means they know. And Gurudev said that one of Srila Maharaj's godbrothers, Jajavar Maharaj, he used to like kind of chuckle and emphasize that line. This Veda, the word Veda means to know, right? We think of it as just referring to the scriptures, but Veda actually means to know, right? So they know Dukatmakam Kamam, that all this engagement in mundane activity, it is dukatmakan, means full of suffering, right? However, parityage pyanishva, they can't give it up, right? It's an addiction. We know that material enjoyment is the source of all suffering. Not actually interested anymore, like someone who has an addiction, like with smoking or something, right? As they're smoking, they may be thinking, I actually don't like this, and I know it's bad for me, but I just can't stop, right? So something like that. Our relationship with the material energy in general will become like that at a certain point. It's like a bad habit we can't give up. And so then Krishna says in the next verse, Tato bhajeta mamprita shraddhalur jidhanishchaya jushamanashtatang kaman dukkhadarkam jagarhayam. That then Krishna is saying, such a devotee, they will continue to worship me with love and faith, and firm conviction. Prita, affection, love. Shraddha, Lord, faithful, and Dridha Nishchaya, firm conviction. Right? They won't give up. Right? They won't give up. Even though they're seeing their struggle, with faith and with love, they will continue with their practice. And then Jushamanas Chatankamam means from time to time they will again, fall prey to their mundane tendencies. But Dukkha Darkam Chagarhayam, they will repent for that. They will feel some sorrow for that. Right? And that will purify them also. The fire of repentance will purify them. Then the next verse, Proktena Bhakti Yogena Bhajato Masa Kimune Kama Hridaya Nashyanti Sarvamaya Hridistate, that all the bhakti yoga, all the activities of devotion, activities of bhakti that are told, Proktena on the scripture, Bhajato Masuk, they will engage constantly, right? And the way Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained this verse is that, like seeing how they are falling from their principles or their practice sometimes, they will get up again with renewed energy, right? Sometimes that can happen. We make a mistake, but we actually become more determined. No, I will push through, right? I will do this. Then Kama Hridaya Nashyanti, all the calm, all the lust, material desire in the heart, Nashyanti will be destroyed. Sarve Mai Hridistate, and they will see that I am, they will feel my presence in their heart like that. They will feel my connection in the heart. Vidyate, and then the last verse, which we just said, Vidyate hridaya granti chidyante sarvasamsha kshiyante chashakarmani mayidrishte kilatmani. The knot on the heart will be pierced. Chidyante sarvasamshaya. All doubts will be cleared, cut. Kshiyante chashakarmani. The bondage of karma, that will also be cut. And mayidrishte kilatmani, and they will see my presence everywhere, my connection everywhere. Very, very beautiful, very encouraging verses, very, very helpful for us. All right. Well, such nice topics today with all of you. Does anyone wanna add anything before we close for today? And welcome, Adulal Krishna Prabhu joined us, and Vijayananda Soumya Prabhu also joined us from Ireland. Very happy to have you all with us today. Suvasini, did anything you'd like to add before we close? Always happy to hear your insights.
Well, you just closed with that, like Mai Drishtya Khilatmani, that, they see the Supreme Lord everywhere. It's like, connecting back to this Paramahamsa, right? It's coming back to the Paramahamsa.
Yeah,
And
that's a great connection, huh?
yeah, he started with that and then he was closed it like, yeah, see. And
Mm.
also, I was also remembering that Paramahamsa, when they see the Lord, there's also another verse in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamayi
Mm.
pashyati
Mm.
tasyaham na pranashyami sa chamena pranashyati. So one
Mm.
who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I'm not lost to him.
Mm.
And he's
Mm.
not lost to me. So, like,
Mm.
so
Mm.
the same. The Mayi
Mm.
Drishtya Akilatmani. So there's
Mm.
also, yeah, the Param.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you, Didi. Very nice.
Yeah, beautiful talk. Nice points. Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
All right. Should we close there for today then? And so yeah, so I'm traveling to London tomorrow and then next Wednesday to Japan. So we won't be able to hold the meeting next Thursday. But we'll see if we can do something in Japan at another time. So I'll announce in our chat group, in our WhatsApp group. Um, so yeah, we'll keep in touch. I'm very sad. As I said, I feel like every meeting's getting more juicy now. So I'm really gonna miss this, but we'll be connected to the heart and we'll meet again soon. We'll keep in touch.
Happy
Thank you.
travels, Sakadiri.
Oh, thank you so much, Kangalila. Thank you so
Have
much.
a successful trip to Japan and beyond. And thank you for a class. It was excellent. I took notes. It was
Oh,
so good.
really? Now that's
Totally.
that's when I know, like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
something happened. Oh, I'm so glad. By the grace of you all, by the grace of our gurus, something good is coming for our own purification. Well, wish you all very inspired few weeks ahead. We'll be in touch. My gratitude to all. Jai Shri.
Sakadevadasi ki jai.
Jai
Bye.
Shri. Jai
Jai
Shri.
Sakadevadasi ki jai. Tomorrow's evening
Vaishnava.
program ki jai.
Bye.
All the assembled
It
devotees,
is a
sincere
program.
seekers ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki
Bye.
jai. See you all very soon.
Jai Gurudev.
Bye.
Ciao.